So yeah, what we wanted to do today is we wanted to go over the features of the inReach Mini 2 satellite communicator, this brand new product from Garmin. And have you got the product with you today?
I do,
Yeah,
yes.
let's take a look at this bad boy.
So I have the inReach Mini 2, and the thing that we are excited about is it doesn't look a whole lot different than the inReach Mini Gen 1. Same form factor, but we've added a lot of exciting things to the device, everything from a greatly increased battery to new functionality like the breadcrumb trail and the ability to always have a track back to find your way out of the woods, and compatibility with the Explore app, which is Garmin's new companion for planning and navigation.
Well, you just beat me to my first question. That was going to be my opener. I was going to talk about like what were the main improvements that you guys have added between the Mini and the Mini 2.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate any more about that?
Sure. Well, we really focused in on making sure that the size of the device didn't change. A lot of our customers use accessories with the Mini 2, everything from the carabiner or the spine mount accessories that you can use with the device, all the way to a dive case that's rated to 10 atmospheres. So all of that has stayed the same between the Mini Gen 1 and the Mini 2. But what we have made improvements around are things like a new processor for better battery life, a new and more familiar user interface, so that when people are familiar with our wearables and how those devices work exactly, yes, then they should find that same kind of familiar user interface with the Mini 2. We have also added, as I mentioned, an automatic trackback capability, so that if you get turned around in the woods, you can find your way back out, and a breadcrumb map. So more of the standalone capabilities, although we certainly understand that most customers will be paired with their smartphone or other Garmin compatible device. And one nice thing there is we have moved the Mini 2 into the compatible device list for the Explore app, which is Garmin's new outdoor companion app for planning your expedition, syncing with your device, backing data up to the Garmin cloud, and even using it for navigation. You can load your topographic maps, your USGS quad sheets, your bird's eye, or your satellite imagery, that sort of thing. So really working on that ecosystem. You mentioned your watch. We can still connect, Messenger. Excuse me, the Mini and the watch, so that when you get out in the backcountry, you have a nice system to work with. A lot of great things with the new product.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. There's two main buckets that I would imagine the GOVX community would be most interested in this product for. Of course, there'd be the recreational side, and then there'd be the professional side. Can you talk about like the differences between like the usages of that? Like how would somebody use this recreationally, and then how would somebody use this in like a field like wildland firefighting or search and rescue or things like that?
Yeah, so the key capabilities of the system, certainly for both scenarios, consumer or professional, the device is it's an inReach enabled device. It takes advantage of the Iridium global satellite network. That means that you can send and receive messages using that system. We can use it for tracking your location and obviously the emergency capabilities. As a consumer, at 3.5 ounces, I clip this to my pack, whether I'm doing a trail run, a mountain bike ride, or I'm going out for a backpacking trip. And then I can use it to stay in communication with my friends and family. I can stay in touch if something happens back home and I need to be, I need to make changes in my plan. I can do that. And then they can follow along on the map share page, which allows, again, friends and family to go and see an actual map of my progress towards my destination. if something comes up and I have an emergency, I could declare SOS. I can use it to get weather forecasts, that sort of thing. So really about staying connected, having sharing my location, that sort of thing. As a consumer, so many of those things have parallels directly into the professional space: search and rescue, humanitarian, disaster relief, all of those. The story just changes a little bit from being communication with command and control, being able to message back. The device has the ability to send up to 3 preset messages, so I can have my communication protocol, and if my process is to check in at a given interval, I can use the Mini 2 for a very lightweight system, but a very quick and easy way to send my check-in messages. I can be tracked as a command center. I could have all of my team carrying inReach devices, and those messages, the tracking data that I talked about, that goes up to, we have a professional command center, the website where the person at command and control can see a website of the location of all of their team members, so they can track the group. There is also the ability to message from that portal, the web portal. That was the word I was looking for, sorry. From the web portal, you can send a message to the team, you can send a message to individuals, really have the ability to track that group wherever they are. So it's about location awareness, positional awareness. It's about communication, messaging, and also about a safety capability. And even that enterprise or professional scenario, they still have access to a 24/7 monitoring service with the GARMIN inReach. So communication and location tracking, whether it's consumer or professional.
Gotcha. Well, that's a good segue into what I want to ask next. Like, do you know of any anecdotes of like successful usage in the field with this product? I mean, of course, the 2 has only been out for a little while. So if the anecdote applies to the first iteration of the product, I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah. So inReach, the inReach technology, that ability to send and receive messages using the Iridium global network.
And of course, this applies when you're, of course, out of cell phone range.
Yes,
right.
And most relevant when you're out of cell phone range, but certainly the Iridium network works even if you're inside of cell phone range, depending on how you've set up the system and how you've instructed your team to use it. We actually have a great resource for people interested. Our blog, the Garmin blog, has a Saved by Garmin section where our team has done a nice job of cataloging and sharing the stories from lots of our users who have had SOS stories that where they've been so pleased with the way the device performed, they wanted to tell their story. And so that's a great resource for people to go and look. I've been fortunate, I would say myself, I haven't had to use the SOS capabilities. But one of the things that I'm most proud about with the inReach device and the work that our team has done is in situations where the benefit actually happens before you need to have an emergency, that sort of thing. And even sometimes where the emergency might be happening at home and you're able to message. It's the two-way capability of that messaging. And I can tell you for a personal story, when we first released one of the earlier inReach devices, I had an opportunity to go and climb with a group out west, and it was a 4-day trip. And on day one of our participants received a message on their inReach device that that one of their loved ones had fallen ill, and they were able to receive that message and actually change their plans. And they hiked out rather than continue 3 more days into the backcountry, and they were able to get home and be with their family. So that kind of power of communication is really important for us, and just in general, the ability to be connected. so that
Yeah.
you can track and see where folks are. I can tell you too, the other important thing that I like, that makes me feel good about the product that we make, is when I hear directly from the search and rescue industry, when they talk about how it's a game changer to have two-way satellite communication and the exact location of someone who is having an emergency. They no longer send out a team to search a grid pattern. They now go to the location. They can ask a question of the person in the backcountry. They can say, what's the nature of the emergency? Is it a medical issue? Is it an equipment failure? Just that one question helps them prioritize, triage what kind of equipment they might need to bring with them. Is there any special medical equipment they need to bring? And they know exactly where they're going. They're not running a search pattern. So I think that's been a powerful piece as well. And then I guess the last one, and as I was thinking about our upcoming conversations, some things that I find valuable. I can tell you that I'm not sure if you remember a few years back when they had the big avalanche on Mount Everest. We were aware that something was happening pretty quickly because we were having lots of SOS messages from that isolated area. And some of the earliest reports coming out of that avalanche situation were inReach messages. There were people messaging out and kind of trying to share. And we see that story happen, in that specific example from Everest. We see it when there's a natural disaster like hurricanes and different times when people have been cut off from the normal infrastructure that they use for communication. We see it around world events and different things. So definitely some great applications of inReach technology.
That reminds me, we just worked with, we regularly work with Team Rubicon Disaster Relief.
Yeah.
And they were, within hours of the storm hitting Kentucky just a few months ago, they were on the ground and they were helping to restore communications. I imagine during that time when communications are down, a product like this would be, on the belt of Team Rubicon volunteers coordinating with federal and local authorities, that kind of thing. So yeah, it definitely sounds like an incredibly useful product for people who are interested in making a difference and finding their way, navigating their way. The last thing I wanted to talk about is like a lot of our members, you touched on this at the beginning of our conversation. You touched about the new features and the construction of the product. A lot of our members, they like to kind of geek out about the specifications, the waterproof rating, the construction of the product. Can you dive into the details a little bit more?
Sure. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is the rugged nature of the device and the water rating. The inReach Mini 2, like all of our inReach devices, has an IPX7 water rating. That means that you can submerge the device to 3 feet for up to 30 minutes without any negative impact on the device. I mentioned the battery rating. That was a big improvement. The inReach Mini Gen 1 had a 90-hour battery life. With all of the work we've done with the Mini 2, we have a 300-hour battery life.
Wow.
And that translates, that's 2 weeks of battery life when you're using the device at a 10-minute send interval, continuous use. So that's not even turning it off at night when you're not actually moving around. So 300-hour battery life, that's a huge improvement there. And I touched on this, but the fact that we've kept the form factor so that if you're really into diving or just general the extreme conditions for the device, we talk to a lot of folks who are using that dive case to protect their device even more. The scenarios, the device being able to connect using the ANT technology from Garmin, connect to your wearable watch, connect to your different Garmin devices that have that capability. That's a big feature for folks. That spec, ANT Plus technology, and then the Bluetooth technology that allows you to connect to your phone. certainly I expect that people are using the Explore app for their messaging and the convenience of touchscreen text entry, the topographic maps, the satellite imagery, all of those things. But when you think about, again, we've touched on all of them, whether you're adventuring or you're responding to an emergency, a natural disaster or something like that, having that phone with you to use for those apps, but having that global coverage for communication, that's the key. I can be, my team can be dropped off in a location where the infrastructure has gone down, but I can still use the inReach device to message anywhere in the world and get my reports submitted, my communication back, and to be able to declare that emergency if you need to.
So recreational use, professional use, multifaceted product that we're very interested to talk to you about today. So thank you very much. I don't think I have any additional questions for you. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's the core. It's all about satellite communication and basic navigation on the device, and expanding on both of those things when you bring in the paired compatible device like a smartphone and the app experience, that whole ecosystem with Garmin. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share that with your.
Let's give another look at that product there for the people who tuned in today.
Yeah, hold on, let me turn it on too. So
yeah, please, let's take a look.
Yeah, so this is, and get my fingerprints off. So this is the inReach Mini 2 by Garmin, 3.5 ounces, 300 hours of battery life. Connect to your smartphone for satellite communication for messaging, tracking, and safety, and connect to your Explore app for navigation and planning and reviewing.
Yeah, Garmin, longtime partner with GOVX. We've been proud to have you guys on board with our community. Thank you very much for joining us. The inReach Mini 2 is available now at govx.com. And thank you very much for joining. And grab yourself one of these, and we hope it serves you well in the backcountry on missions, search and rescue, firefighting, that kind of stuff. As Chip has talked about today, it has a variety of uses that I think the members will certainly appreciate. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll catch you guys later.